This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to be able to locate this podcast. Here's what we're going to look at today. Maybe we should all ask a question. What one thing should I start doing today? I may do a follow-up in a few weeks about what one thing should I stop doing today. But right now, the question is, what is the one thing that I should start doing today? Now, the reason I was attracted to this is that there are so many things that most people want to do. They have a hard time of picking and choosing, and therefore it just sort of stops them because they can't make a decision. They're just almost overwhelmed. And so today is going to be a little mixture of, I may give you some suggestions of some small steps or some things that are pretty important that you could begin today. You don't need a lot of strategic planning. You can just start. And then I'm also going to give you some hacks and some tools of what would help you as you begin to say, I need to start taking at least a positive action in moving the right way. So what one thing should I do today? Let me give you what I think should be our default. Do something. Take action. The first and most important step to moving forward, initiating your goals and dreams, making a difference, changing course, is to take action. Now, I'm not just saying jump in and start doing things when you have no idea or clue exactly what you're doing or what you're hoping to do. But oftentimes, you'll fall into one or of two categories. There are some people whose bias is toward taking action. They would rather take action and then reflect on it, after the fact, down the road. There are others who want to write out all sorts of schemes and goals and all kinds of things we're going to do. And then they get to the point when they've analyzed it, they reanalyze it and analyze it again into the form that they're just overthinking. You know what it is you want to do. If you have a goal, you have a vision, you have something that you know you need to do, it's probably time to quit thinking about it, quit meditating on it, stop overthinking, and just get up and start. Start where you are at the moment. Start where you are right now today. You can't start where you wish you were or where you think you are. You have to start right where you are. Because starting right now is the only time you have to start. Yesterday's gone. You can't do a thing about it. It's past. It's history. Tomorrow's a mystery. We don't even know if any of us will be here or how many of us will be here. So unfortunately, too many are always going to start in the great beyond, the great tomorrow, next week, next month, someday, which is not even on the calendar. Start with what you have now. Build up your skills, build up your ability, build up your knowledge, but just start. Opportunity doors will begin to open as you begin to take the action. It's like the previous podcast on preparation and opportunity will meet someday. Doors will be open, but they won't be open until you take action. Again, I am not talking about just thoughtless getting up and flinging as much mud on the wall as you can to see if something sticks. But if you know where you want to go, you know what you need to do, you don't need any more convincing. For many of us, the problem is not a lack of information, it's a lack of motivation, it's a lack of getting up and going. Are you going to make mistakes? Let me help you here. You're going to make a lot of them. I have, you will, everyone. But a mistake is okay because if you learn something, if you learned a lesson, then it was pretty valuable. Learn from the mistake. Don't continue to poke at it the rest of your life. Learn from the mistake. Recalibrate. Go another direction, whatever you need to do, but just move on. And when you start taking action, you may not notice the change immediately. You may not notice it today, tomorrow, next week, or even next month. But one day you'll come to this sudden realization. These positive actions that I have taken have made an unbelievable difference. Just believe and trust. If you do enough of the right things in enough days, you will make the difference and you will eventually get to wherever it is you're desiring to go to. The second one is one that I have found has crucially changed my life, and that's the area of exercise, especially when many of us live somewhat sedentary lives. And what I discovered that not only did it help my physical health, but as I was going through particular trials and some difficult periods, I found that just the fact of exercising would change my mood, would change my mindset to not be negative and to be more positive. It's given me more mental, I would even say physical and spiritual energy as well. Again, you can't run a marathon tomorrow if you've not been off the couch lately. Break it down. Am I going to join a gym? Am I going to buy a new pair of gym shoes or tennis shoes? Am I going to take up running? Am I going to hire a trainer? Am I going to go to one of the local gyms? Figure it out. Don't overthink it. These are not irrevocable choices. You can change them if it does not work for you, but you just need to get yourself in the game. And the older you get, the more important exercise and physical movement and activity becomes, to the point that it really needs to become like your job. I schedule mine on my calendar. I keep the appointment with myself. That's how critical I think it is. And if you're looking for one thing that you ought to do, you need to take up some exercise. Another one that's been a passion of mine for years is to read more. I think if you're one of those people, I believe you just have to read. Especially if you're a person that's giving out and you're talking and you're trying to help people, you've got to keep the well filled. You've got to keep your tank filled. And part of that is reading. Now, I was challenged way back in 1982 to become a reader, and I am a goal person, so I have set a goal. And some of the earlier podcasts, I have said how many books I have read each year since 1982, and it sort of overwhelmed people or gave you the idea that I thought you needed to do that. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but what I'm saying is you can read. People tell me all the time they don't have time to exercise and they don't have time to read. It's usually the same people who say that have plenty of time to watch their favorite television programs and then some. They have time to be on social media. They have time to do whatever they want to do. Everyone has the same amount of time. You're going to have to take control of it and decide that you're going to dedicate yourself to things that really, really matter. I guess what you could say is, as much as you're going to be giving yourself to your job, to your family, and those are important, don't forget to invest in yourself. You'll be of no good to anyone if you let yourself run down, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't be making attempts to get better. I think another one thing you could do is, if you already have some goals, then you need to work on them every day. If you don't have a goal or some goals, then I would say you need to take some time and just really develop and work on that. And that could be perhaps for you today the one thing that you really need to start doing. But work on your goals daily. If you have written your goals down, you are in a small minority of people, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5% who have their goals written down. But it's even a smaller group than that, if you can imagine, who look at their goals daily, who keep them ever before them, and who do their best every day, every week, to do something that is moving them closer to their goals. So don't forget that. One of the things that I think we all ought to do is to make sure that we are serving others. Are we being an encourager? Are we helping? Is there someone going through an especially hard time right now that's in your sphere of influence, someone that you know that really needs someone to reach an arm out to them, to be a shoulder to cry on? I say that's something each of us can do. One of the things that I go through particular spurts of, and sprints really, is I try to find people to encourage every day. You know, if you make your job to be an encourager, you'll never be unemployed. Everyone needs to be encouraged. Someone needs to be told, hey, I appreciate what you're doing and the efforts you're doing. You are making a difference, and thanks for all you do. It's simple. It doesn't cost money. Now, you have to be sincere. People can smell whether you're being phony or not, but be genuinely interested in others will really, really help you. One of the things that's immensely helped me over the years is writing down what I intend to do each and every day. The night before, I write down, and I write down those things that are very important, and I write them down, and then I scratch them off when I do them. I get up early, begin to start with that, so that even if the day becomes chaotic, even if unforeseen things begin to happen that I had no knowledge was going to happen, I at least was able to get some things done. So there's just some value. You'll notice there's a repeated item today, and that is you have to do some things daily, you have to write them down, and you have to look at them. I believe that you need to develop a more positive mindset if you're not. I know there are some people that just seem to be wired to be pessimistic. The glass is always half empty. Oh, that's just always what's going to happen. Maybe you need to read some literature, start preparing your mind to see the glass is half full. There's an opportunity. Even in the midst of difficulties, even in the midst of trial, tribulation, setbacks, there's always opportunity. Your attitude will change for the better if you start looking at life from that perspective, and you'll be happier and you'll be more productive. I think one thing that all of us can do today is not just encouragement, but to express gratitude. One of the things that I try to write into my journal every day are those things for which I'm thankful. Now, there are my old standards that I go to because they're true, not just because they're standards. God, my family, my friends, and those sorts of things, my health. But I try to find something new every day that I can be thankful for. Even in the hard times, I have reflected back in my journal and see that there were some invaluable lessons learned, and it was very helpful. One thing that I want to remind you today is you and I do not control everything. I cannot control what people think of me. Now, I can try to be the best that I can be, but regardless of who you are and what you do, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and some people aren't going to care for you. You can't control who your parents were. You can't control the weather. You can't control what politicians are going to do or leaders. And a lot of times we do that to divert attention from ourselves because we can take control. We have control of our attitude. We have control of our effort. Don't continually play the victim. There are areas in your life in which you have control. One thing you might try to do, and I'm just giving you several suggestions, not that you need to try all of these. It would be unbelievable to try them and impossible, actually. But maybe there would be one that would speak to your heart today. Another one is prepare for tomorrow today. Now, some people do it at the end of their office hours or sometime in the afternoon or early evening. I do it right before I go to bed. I get the things ready. I think about what I'm going to do tomorrow. I look over my schedule, see what meetings I'm going to. Do I have all of the information that I need? But don't just get up and let tomorrow happen. Don't wait to see who emails you, who calls you, or who texts you as to describe what your day is going to look like. Be proactive, take control, and plan your day tomorrow, today. Create and commit to following some routines. I know many of you are more free-spirited and you don't like routines, but it is in those routines that will give your life real meaning. When I was ill a couple of weeks ago and kind of out of my routine, it reminded me of how much value I find in the routines because they keep me grounded and they help me to get things done that need to be done. One of the other things that I think would be good for all of us to do is a lot of folks carry around a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and a lot of angst. Perhaps you had parents that mistreated you, a teacher, a preacher, somebody hurt your feelings. Maybe a spouse left you. And I realize there's a lot of hurt and it's sad and there's a lot of feeling of anger. But it seems to me that we have become almost a culture that lives with pent-up resentment. We have it toward our friends, our parents, our peers, and it just takes up a lot of space in our head and our heart. And it seems that it almost keeps us from being able to work and to be as effective as we could be. What would happen if we just decide to let go of that. It happened, it hurt, it's awful, but we can't just hold on to grudges and nurse them the rest of our life. Now, you would know that I would want all of us to be truth tellers, but there's one important person with which you must be deadly honest, and that is yourself. I'm wondering if sometimes the person we aren't most dishonest with is ourselves. Be honest with you. You may not be where you want to be. Your attitude may not be. Your work ethic, where you are in life economically, spiritually may not be. That's okay. Just take a valuation of where you are. Be truthful, be honest, be transparent, and just decide I'm going to do one thing to make it better. And I have told you the greatest lessons I have ever learned in life, I have learned from going through some hard places and some things when I didn't even know that I was going to make it. And one of the other side benefits of gratitude, which is another thing you ought to do, just be grateful for what you have. Most of us are blessed beyond measure, but we're always so focused on what we don't have or what we want or what we're lacking that we forget to just take a step back and say, I really am a blessed person. So I've given you several suggestions. I could go on, but I need to bring this to a stop. I hope that one thing has been impressed upon you today, my leadership friend, that you are going to try to implement right now today. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this was like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to locate this podcast. Remember, my leadership friends, it is still true today. You, I'm talking about you, are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying have a great and blessed day.